better.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm sure you're wondering why I've gathered you all here today. I'm just kidding. We all know why we're here today.
It's like,
I want to pull up my thing that I wrote right quick for us, but essentially this is all just about making sure we're all on the same page with RTI. Melanie is doing, you're not revamping RTI, but
no, I'm kind of just helping train teachers where they feel like they're lacking. So I sent out that, you guys all put in some input on the survey, and I got all the results from that. I could probably share that with you so you could see it. But I was going to build trainings based on what they felt they needed. So there's everything from I need help with Acadians math to I need help with resources. There was a couple responses that some people weren't even sure what they were supposed to do at all. So that's just training them, and I put it into a couple different categories of, there's some things I can do on a video recording, how to go through step by step, pretty much the training you guys did with us, on what to do in Frontline, how to pull the graph from Frontline, how to prepare for SAT meetings like that. I can set up recordings for, so they can access that ad hoc as they need. And then there's a couple different things that I set up that should probably be more of a live training with them. So that would be people that don't know what to do with tier 2 kids. What does a small group look like? So I can share that with you guys so we can see what I was looking at doing from there.
awesome. You went for the whole explanation on me there. Total.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're perfect.
No, that's what you wanted.
That was, you got me there. Yeah, so perfect, yes. And again, make sure we're on the same page. Would y'all go ahead, and this is kind of more for me than I think probably the other two, go through the RTI, like just explain what y'all do.
So we kind of assess kids, and then if they're tier 2, that means that they have gaps in their grade level, and so you try to fill in those gaps as needed with some more guidance, more small, group classroom type of things. They may need to just improve on computation or some reading concepts. Tier 3 would be more of a year gap, so that's more intense. They're going to be pulled out. They come and see us, and we try to improve on shortening up those gaps, get those cleared up as soon as we can, or make sure that they are improving with intervention. If they're not improving with intervention, then we kind of need to go through and see what other data we need to gather from that.
We assess them at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. We progress monitor every two weeks. What else was I going to say? Oh, we see them 4 days a week, 30 minutes a shot. What else?
Tier 2 is usually 15 minutes.
Yeah,
increments.
depending on how the teacher wants to do it.
Okay, y'all said y'all assess them every 2 weeks. Y'all have formal assessments for those?
Yes, Acadians. I use Acadians.
iStation.
Teachers have different ones, yeah.
Okay. I will be sending out, so I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm doing too. So I'm doing the Irving University stuff, which is essentially it's the built-in RTI time to help with House Bill 4545. And we're looking at how we can get the teachers to be working with their small groups while also giving other students that are on similar levels a chance to work in that same classroom environment, while also giving students who are accelerated or on grade level a chance to do other things or get extra help depending on what they need. I'll be sending out a form for teachers just so that they can better track all their students, just what's their Acadian score, what's their iStation level, we were kind of talking about other things that we could put in there, but mostly I think it's Acadians and iStation and Imagine Math is what we talked about, I believe. Okay. So I'm going to make that form.
For every student in the building?
Every student in the building.
Well, every student doesn't do Acadians.
I was going to say.
Well, the ones that have Acadians.
The ones that have it, okay.
So like kinder and first it'll be a little different, especially because they have Amplify, thank you, yes. So I'm still kind of tweaking that. We're gonna try and stagger the start for our Irving University. So like we're gonna start with 4th and 5th grade and then work our way down because the younger grades need a little more time to work out everything.
This for next year?
This is for this year.
For this
So
year,
is
okay.
this different than AI?
In addition to.
In addition to,
so
yes.
it's all the other kids, basically.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So the AI is the ones that we've already identified, and this is for
Their
everybody
group
else.
won't change.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, I'm not gonna change anything. I'm just in addition to.
Okay.
So I'm there to help out a little extra more.
It's extra and it's.
Yeah.
It is.
But that's literally that's basic overview of Irving University there. And we were hoping to start next week, but we had to remove our meeting, so we'll probably get started the week after that if things are going well. I am also gonna have a time where I'm gonna be talking to, I want to have this time set aside where I talk to the 4th and 5th grade teachers before they get started on theirs. I would love if one of y'all could be in there for that. Like if I could schedule y'all and just be like, hey, are you available at this time?
Yeah,
And just
let us know.
to help if there's anything that I can't answer because
Yeah.
I don't deal with RTI as much. So this has been helpful and will continue to be helpful. Did anyone have any questions for anyone else, especially since we're kind of on these projects similarly?
I do. So
Yes.
one of the things you mentioned is that the kids will be able to get extra help. Who's gonna give that to them? Because I'm actually pulled for small groups and I'm monitoring my homeroom at the same time.
Yes. So since you're already monitoring your homeroom, and we are already discussing how the accelerated groups and the groups that don't need necessarily the help to be on grade level, those students will have some more independent activities. So it'll still kind of be what it is now, but those kids will have activities to do. So you're still working small.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
it's basically
So
exactly
independent
the
things
same.
are great, but you mentioned literally they can go get extra help. Who? Because literally we've tapped every staff member in the building for this.
And so the kids that need, let's say there's a student who needs a little bit extra math help, so we're gonna have them tiered, well below, on grade level, a little bit above, well above. And so if there's just a couple of below ones, we can maybe stack them in so that they're getting the same lesson as maybe the well below ones for just this week or maybe for just 2 weeks, just to help them where they can there. But we're working that out a hair more yet. That is, we are discussing in our next meeting. Ours is it's all extra, and we are
it is extra.
discussing how.
That's the issue.
Yeah, we are discussing
And
how the
more.
teachers can do that without needing to do extra stuff. I don't want to burden y'all more.
Yeah.
But it has been mentioned that the 5 teachers for the grade levels will be the ones doing the main
And
stuff.
4th and 5th might look different because of AI. You
Yes.
Well,
understand
and that's my point,
We
because we're already
understand
tapped for AI.
Yeah.
I'm already running a small group and trying to keep them off of games and keep them from playing and being too loud and literally,
We've discussed bringing in other, not necessarily teachers, but even maybe community members and things to give some of those kids, so that you're not feeling like you have to do it all the time, every day. So we are discussing how to lessen that burden for y'all. It has just not
And-
been cemented
Okay.
perfectly yet.
the other thing is, so you want a list of the reports, I get that. Is that gonna be different than our SATs tracker? Because now that would be triple documenting the same
Are y'all still
information
doing
and I'm
that
gonna
this year?
lose my mind.
That spreadsheet?
Mhm.
No.
No, the
Because
spreadsheet's
we don't even know how they're gonna be ran. You know what I'm saying? We don't even know how SATs are gonna be ran.
So this is something we need to think of, because
Mhm.
just hearing that makes my skin crawl, and I'm one
That's
human,
a
and
lot of
I'm pretty
documentation.
open to a lot of things, but now we're talking about triple documenting the same information,
over. I got you.
and that I'll dig my heels in about.
This is why we're meeting for
Yeah.
sure, because this is
Because if I walk in and I tell my team that, they're gonna be like, wow, so
This
We
is
need
why
to
we
think
need to be
about
on the same page
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
So if we're already using documentation then, and we already know, and the SATs are for every student,
No,
the
they're
sets are just for the low
tier
students.
twos and threes.
so that might be a question that I go take to Ms. Jones. Just
Because at the end of the day, we can run a report, we can press a couple buttons, and you can have the whole class list, but it's gonna be separate. We can have,
And I
but
would go on to say that maps is something that we're doing with the reading and the math, which is a lot easier to give on the, it's okay, Siri, on the computer, and then that way you guys can easily run a report, and we see, and it codes it. That's the problem, I think, with this one too, with you guys. You gotta run your papers, you gotta hand them out, then you gotta grade them, then you gotta put them in the computer. So
So, off topic, is that going away next year then? And MAP is going?
I would assume so.
Oh,
Supposedly.
Don't hold me to
I
that.
hope so, I'm not.
But I'm
Because
assuming
nationally
so.
normed, right?
iStation.
Supposedly
It's
iStation's
Uh,
going away
so
next
thought
year.
so.
Your maps will be more of an
And
assessment.
next year,
that's something
supposedly,
you can give to
all
the
the
full
teachers can
classroom
use
on.
Because it's nationally
And-
normed, right?
It
I
will.
think, yes.
That's what I
Tell
thought,
you,
so then we wouldn't need it, because the reason why we got
It was
Acadians, because it was nationally
It was
normed.
below, it
Yeah.
was really below. And it
So
would
Acadians
be a
is
lot
going
easier, of course.
That's what I'm
for the
asking,
teachers.
Oh,
because
I
if we're
don't- I
doing MAP,
haven't heard
what was
Acadians.
the,
Okay.
what is the purpose of
We did
Acadians?
that. So
Well,
that's
I
probably
don't-
the issue
well, because
this
it
year
shows-
with, this is just what we're dealing with, what they're dealing with.
Because you don't get the
Okay,
groups with
so
it.
the
Does that make
older
sense?
grades do have maps
Map?
already,
We
and
get,
that,
we have progress
I think they
monitoring
only
with
have a
MAPs?
certain amount
Just
of
a certain amount,
licenses.
okay.
We're
Just beginning, middle, and
getting a
end.
taste of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Would
never
there
mind
be
then.
Maps
something?
is only beginning, middle, and end. It doesn't
Okay.
have the progress
mind.
monitoring.
So,
I
yeah,
haven't heard anything about Acadians
yes, that's
going
gonna
away.
stay then, probably.
I've heard iStation was going away and Maps was coming in, but I haven't heard Acadians was leaving.
Mm,
Well,
So I don't think Acadians, because that's our whole, I mean, that's our
it's just
beginning of the
progress
year, middle of the
monitoring.
year, end of the year, and our progress monitor.
okay, so that would be something to worry more about for like the next year.
Yes.
Okay, for right now though, just what, we don't have a system that tracks all the students as far as their,
I mean, you could log
you
in,
can log into that and,
well, not to this is literally for RTI kids, so
Okay.
these are for the low identified kids. But when we do Imagine Math, like we can log into
So
Imagine
they're
Math
Imagine
and
Math,
print off,
okay.
yeah, by class roster.
and y'all have iStation as well.
They do have
Yes.
iStation as well, yes, and it'll do the same thing, where it'll register them, so I'm just trying to streamline the,
Definitely, no, definitely. I'm just trying to make sure I'm on that wavelength too. Is there a way that y'all can go in there and add teacher observations to that? Or is it simply based off of the assessments that they do in their iStation or
I
their
think it's
Imagine Math?
just their assessments. I think, I've never seen anything.
That is
where you
something
can
that we
add
wanted to add
Like-
into.
what was it for? Sorry.
Like what?
Talk down for a
iStation and Acadians, if you can add teacher observations.
No,
No,
okay.
Teacher
Frontline you can add
observations.
teacher observations, but that's only, Frontline is the
That's sped only.
official
That's
documentation
true.
for RTI and SPED and all that. So
So
not
then-
everybody has that access, because they limit who has what access to that.
Is
Yeah.
there a way, is there a system that you know of right now that could maybe work besides just the iStation? Because if that's what we need to use is iStation and Imagine Math, and that's what we'll roll out with. But would there be something we could do that would not necessarily burden y'all, but we could also maybe get some feedback from y'all and students?
I mean, this kind of is the feedback, if they're RTI or if they're AI, those are our low kids.
What about
We
like
don't need
the
to
middle
progress
group?
monitor any of the other ones, because they're already where they're supposed to be.
So
We progress monitor them, or, well, we do the beginning, middle, and end of year assessments with them, and that's how we keep track of them. So we
Okay.
shouldn't have to do anything in between.
So that was something that Ms. Jones did mention here, was that she did want Fridays to be like a weekly assessment for the mid group and the lower groups. Which is why I was asking
And
if
how
there
do you
was a
do that
better
if they all
way.
have different skills, you know, that they're working on.
But this helps me out a lot with planning the next meeting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This helps me figure out, it's about time for us to.
No, I'm sorry, I was just
No.
saying that. Go ahead, you
Take
talk.
that as a cue.
No.
But, so that would be something that we would need to discuss as an urban
That's a
university.
lot of,
It's a lot of documentation,
oh
but
man,
if,
every student,
so what we would need to do is find a way to make that easier.
Yeah, because I don't have time to do that.
At this
I
point,
cannot
I
do that for every
that's
child.
that's a lot.
At this point, I have just made like a list, like a drop-down list, like where are they at? Well above, middle.
The best thing would be.
Below
to-
what?
Well, and that's why, that's literally like what we've
That's what
used
you're
for
already doing.
SATs,
But that won't
for
do
breaking up for
individual,
SATs,
that
but those
would
are
just
only
give
for the
it
identified
overall.
low
If you
kids.
gave it
It's
to
not for every
Yeah.
student.
But see, we don't even have.
I
that.
cannot test 110 kids every single week
That's what I'm saying,
and
that's a
update
lot.
all of their monitoring every single week on top of
On
AI,
top
on
of
top
the
of
ones we're
RTI
already
in
doing.
one session.
Well,
One 30-minute session. You guys are out of your mind.
You do, but it.
And they will all set fire to you guys.
Oh,
Like,
that'll be a ponderate question for our next urban university. So, this is exactly why we're meeting together right now. Because see, I feel like mine is the one where we're having to kind of put these pieces together a little bit more coherently, which feels a little weird, especially I'm not as RTI deep as everyone in this room is. Y'all are the
Right.
experts. So, in that case, that'll be a table it for us. I appreciate y'all explaining.
I don't want to be the funny duddy. I'm just trying to be like,
No.
this is realistic.
This
like,
is real. This is real life. This is what we want.
So sorry. I know you're working really hard on this.
Is there anything else you might want to add to that before we break here?
Just keeping in mind, like the fourth and fifth, well, because third's not doing AI.
So-
It's just
But-
fourth and fifth.
but yeah.
I think it's gonna look different for you
Yeah.
guys, okay? So
Okay.
Don't-
don't stress out. It's
Yeah.
gonna look different. You know me, I'm not gonna put a
I
million things on
know,
your plate and not have your back.
this is very scary information right now.
I think
I think
Yeah.
for fourth and fifth, what it's going to
Because
look
y'all
most
already
like
have
is
your
what you're
groups.
already doing.
So
Yes.
we're already, yeah.
It's probably just going to be like maybe a little piece of information here, or like maybe a little extra. But what y'all are doing, because what Ms. Thomas already said is y'all's already looks pretty similar to what we're trying to plan.
Okay.
So y'all probably won't change as much. But that's also does give me good things to think about for the second and third and the kinder and first to
it's
see.
different for them.
It's different for them and see what they
Okay.
need as far as documenting.
I want to support. I really do. I just like
No, totally.
I love that you
This-
have all of it.
this is literally just my testing for every other Friday, and keeping up with this and monitoring it. Like this is a lot already. So I
And-
just.
And I can bring up to Ms. Jones too, when I have my meeting with just her, I can bring up in that meeting and say, hey, it's been expressed that every week
They did.
assessments might be
They're
too
still down there
many.
somewhere. They haven't left. It might
And
be in one of the
so
rooms.
I can talk with her. That was the expectation that was given to me the last time I met with her. So, and then right after that, we created this meeting. That's when she sent that out. So,
So we haven't talked at Urban University about this either. So
Yeah.
we'll figure something out. It'll be, I'm not gonna have a million things on y'all's plate.
I know.
It's 30
I know.
minutes. We get it. You'll be taken care of.
Okay. I'm making you more
I-
nervous, and I should not.
Oh,
be doing that.
absolutely. I'm terrified. I'm definitely not going to repeat any of this meeting anywhere.
Don't.
But,
That's only for that. That's all.
Just
but for the record, I do want to support. I'm on board, and I would love for my kids to be more engaged that are in my homeroom right now. So
Yeah, they need something
I
else to
am
do.
on board with
and I think
this.
that's the part that we really want to focus on is that the
Yeah.
kids that are in your classroom are doing something that's constructive.
And I exactly, and that's what I believe, like, this is pretty much geared toward, and so I am on board, and I am willing to help monitor their projects, but just,
I think
Yeah.
the trickiest part for us was integrating all of that correctly. So, and again, every time I talk to a different group of teachers, I go back to Ms. Jones with a whole new list of questions, like, hey. And so we hash it out later that day usually. So I will let Ms. Jones know we had this meeting. I'll send the notes that I wrote out, and then I'll ask the questions. Thank y'all so much again. I really appreciate y'all staying even later than the 10 minutes I promised. And thank you
No,
for
you're
coming
fine.
and
I'm
being
saying
another
until, what,
expert
6
for
o'clock
us.
anyway.
So.
sorry for setting fire
6
to
o'clock.
No, you didn't. That was very helpful.
Why do you
That's
say till 6?
we have yeah.